Growing up and visiting Vancouver, I always looked forward to stopping by the garage. It was busy and full of life. The air smelled like car oil, and if I was lucky enough, the scent would follow me home. I would watch my Uncle Mark run frantically from repairing a car to answering the phone as calls poured in all day. I'd see my Nono under a car or with his head in an engine. My Oma was always in the office handling customers, doing the bookkeeping and answering the phone as well. On a good day, I would be given the opportunity to answer the phone. Adria Import Car Service, this is Eden speaking, how may I help you? Even better was when my Nono would let my brother and I sit in a car as he raised the lift. All of these fond memories made me want to learn more about the history of the garage. So while Adria is still in operation, I took the opportunity to sit down with my Oma and Nono and get the full story.
Well, before we moved here, we made this trip across Canada. We came from Montreal all the way across. And when we came up to Vancouver, and we saw the mountains and the ocean and everything else, so we decided that's where we're going to move to. So we went back to Montreal, sold everything we had, and then the following year, in 1971, we arrived here, I think it was in the summertime, to Vancouver. Because we had a garage in Montreal, or we were running a service station, so when all the tools that my husband had, when they all arrived and everything else, anyway, so we approached oil companies here in Vancouver to see if we could take over one of their service stations. And at the time, there was it was called, 76, Union 76.
Yeah, that was first when we came to Vancouver that we ran that, maybe 2 years, from the Union 76.
So we took over from whoever was in there previously. He didn't want to be there anymore. So anyway, we had a chance to take that over.
That's the
Yeah, that was the gas station, the Union. Yeah, this was it. God, that is so long ago. These are actually the first pictures we took, you see.
And then how come you guys decided to buy Adria instead of continuing to rent Union 76?
Because that was, in those days, the gas prices, there was like a reorganization. There was in all the gas stations, they like self-service. So was not anymore repair shop there.
We ran this Union station for about 2 years. And by then, this company, you could, by talking with the salespeople and whatever, you know that company was not there for the long haul. They were checking things out, and they were not that established really in Vancouver area, right? So we figured we better have a look before they tell us that we have to get out. We look beforehand. So we started, looking around if we could find property on our own. When we saw this that was a little old gas station right on Broadway near Fraser. And the owner, he was in his 70s too. He wanted to get out of it. And so that's how we then, found out about it. And so then in 1973, we took over this lot, and we had to kind of renovate totally because it was a gas station and there was a house next to it where the owner used to live. So we totally renovated it, and we had to do lifts. Like, it was really primitive the way it was done, like the old style from the 1940s, whatever.
Before was like a barn. It was never, the wall was never painted. The door There was not overhead door, was like on the old barn. I did lots of myself, but the big project what was we hired the company.
It was a very, very stressful and busy year, I think. And then, plus your mother was born, 1972. So she was born in February 72, and I think in a year later is when we officially opened this Adria Import Car Service.
Where I was born, there is Adriatic Sea, and that is known all over the world. So it was not any confusion.
And so he chose that name, to give it a name. He didn't want to use the name, like our name, personal name, right? And he thought that was just as good a name as many of the other garages. They have some.
I, like apprentice back home in those days in Yugoslavia, like apprentice you learn the basic, how you deal. You become a professional. I have already a background, so because I have in Montreal, I have their company is called Sun Oil, a service station for 8 years. So from the time I started to be apprentice. Through the time you improve yourself. So to improve yourself, then you know better people, and then you serve better people.
Your grandfather always tried to do a good job when he repaired cars. And he always had more work than he can handle. And people would tell each other, like, people would be in a shopping mall somewhere with their Volkswagen, and then one would talk to the other customer and said, "Oh, where did you get yours repaired?" "Oh, just go to Adria, on Broadway." And so we always had customers from all over the Lower Mainland coming. And even now we can't really handle it because you cannot find good qualified people to repair. So we can only do so much, right? But we could do so much more if we had more staff.
How many people have done apprenticeships?
Oh, we have had quite a few, yeah. And quite a few went on their own. They start their own business, or they went. That was always another part of, we would train them and give them a good beginning. And then they would move over to work at this huge garage dealerships like Mercedes and BMW. So quite a few of our really good people that we had hoped they would stay with us, but no, they thought that's more prestigious to work for a BMW dealership or Mercedes dealership than for a little garage like Adria Import, right? But I guess that's life, Things change all the time, right? So some of them, they just come and visit once in a while and see that we are still around and see how the old boss is doing. That's it, yeah.
Did you like teaching apprentices?
Oh yeah, for me that is to help people, especially apprentices, to make them more independent. You must. They can't take that from the air. You must give to them. You must help them. Lots of them they appreciate. I know sometime I was maybe really bit tough. I know sometimes those apprentices I didn't even recognize it, but they come and they say, "Oh, thank you, you was tough, but that pay off." So I enjoyed that because I helped to prolong what you call the profession.
Like helping mechanics live on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that why at the garage you put up the bucket that says be informed before you make a decision?
Yeah, that is to help the apprentice and the mechanic that they don't waste the time. So that they are aware of that there is telling them for their responsibility. First I put just written, but then they ignore that. Or just for fun, I put like a flashlight. So in the morning, I put the flashlight light on was flashing, and that remind them, they couldn't say that they don't see it. But that was a little bit was like a joke, but was a reality inside.
A lesson, a life lesson that they should.
Yeah, for the people, they never who went through that working with us, they gonna remember that. So that's gonna help maybe them to be a good professional mechanic.
It's a shortage of qualified people. So.
Well, I wonder why. Is it just not as popular to become a mechanic these days?
Well, there's a lot of changes too, right? The newer cars, they're all electronic and whatever. Maybe young people don't want to invest, 4 or 5 years to learn the trade. They don't have the patience anymore. It has to be that's what we find when we get young people. They think, do this a few months and you know it all, but you don't. And then it's hard to take, lessons or, being told what to do. So we found it the last few years, it's been really difficult. Vancouver has had a lot of changes. And in the last couple of years now, especially where our garage is located, the city has all these plans, what they want to develop there, and Broadway and whatever. And so they just say, the value of your property is now so much. Even so, nothing has changed. You still run the same business that you always had. You can only do so much with the people you have and the space you have, but you're being taxed of eventually maybe you could build something bigger there. So you actually get taxed already for the space in the sky where there is nothing, right? So, and when a city comes in 1 year and says, this year it's $20,000 more property tax, the next year it's $30,000 more property tax, and so on and on and on. And now, we are close coming to like 80, 90,000 a year. You have to first create that kind of money with the few people that you have. So it's been a real struggle because that's not the only expenses you have, right? The insurance, everything is going sky high. And so I think a lot of small businesses in Vancouver have a really hard time trying to survive all this. But what can you do, right? You cannot dictate them and say, can you not wait till that land is developed and then tax us? Maybe we can sell it well and then maybe tax us. But taxing us before, So we have to use whatever we saved up to give to them now already. And what if we don't sell it at, what if something happens and you don't sell anything? You don't know what the economy is. Then you used up all your savings too. It's a real, in all the years, when we are now so many years in the business, I've never felt so discouraged as is now. So I don't know. Maybe there is a miracle somewhere.
I just wanted to ask why do you still go into the garage even now?
why I'm going there?
Yeah, still.
Each human being have a talent. You know, if it's that girl or boy, on the talent, it's if you, that can take you, nobody can take that away. But you must pursue, you must, the talent, you must improve it. And that's, it's very, in the life, you get a reward. You know, you get reward when you work and you do a good job. There is reward for you.
What would you say your reward is?
Pardon?
What about you? What's your reward? Your reward now?
My reward?
Yeah, what is it?
What I am... for me, the time is I can physically I can do that anymore. And when I flash back and look back those 60 years what I'm on my own, I don't regret nothing.